Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, hello. It's Tuesday. You know what that means? It means it's Daily Dish time, and we're live. Hi, Catherine. Glad to have you here. Listen, I couldn't be a little bit too excited here. We have so many cool things happening like now. And I'm going to tell you about them. So buckle up, Buttercup, because this is your official notification that 2025 is going to be awesome. Hey, Jocelyn. I'm glad you're here. Anyway, the first thing that you need to know about is that the Rising Tide is our goal-setting course. I love this course. I created it. I made it so that we can take this overwhelming subject of goal setting and make it tenable for all. Make it something that we can incorporate into our lives on the daily. Because I will tell you, it does you no good to spend all day on New Year's Day creating all these goals and then just forgetting about them. We have a different way of doing it, and it makes a huge difference. This class is everything, and I promise you, if you show up for it, you are going to be absolutely loving the process of setting goals. It will not be overwhelming. It will be incredible. Linda, Martha, good to have you here. So that's what's up, girls. And I don't want anyone to miss out on this. It's at savingdinner.com/rise. I believe that's where it is. And we start on January 7th. I don't know what day that is, January 7th. I'm thinking that's a Wednesday. I don't know. Somebody will tell me. But anyway, it is starting, and we will go 3 consecutive weeks. It's in Tuesday. Thank you, Jenny. Jenny knows everything. Somebody does. Somebody needs to keep me on guard here. Anyway, so we will be doing that. It's 3 consecutive Tuesdays, and it is going to light your world up. It's going to set you up for an incredible, amazing 2025. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, Jeanette's in the house, by the way. Number 2 is we are also going to be doing a vision board workshop. It's going to be so fun. It's virtual. Everyone can attend. It will be recorded. And the structure of it is only 2 hours. It's going to go from 10 to 12 Eastern, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, January 4th. Now, here's how it works. I'm going to give you all the things that you need to know about for making your board, okay? And how come vision boards are just so exquisitely important, especially when you line them up with really good goals. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if you did all these things, can you imagine what January 2025 is going to be like? It's going to be for the rest of your year. So this vision board workshop, of course, you will not get your entire vision board done, but you will be set up and ready to go with it. I will give you lots of ideas. I will show you what it is that you need to do. I will share my 2025 vision board as well as the one that I say is responsible for me getting this house here. So the whole thing is going to be really great. It will be interactive. And again, I don't want anybody to think, oh, I'm going to start this and finish my vision board. Probably not. You will start your vision board. But then my strong suggestion, I'm telling you this now, is take an hour after the vision board workshop to just like lock your door and finish up your board. Because that's when you're going to be really on fire and get the whole thing done. It will make a difference. It will rock your world. Vision board. And then lastly, I completely redid the Take Back Your Life journal. Completely redid it, simplified it, pared it down, made it on daily different things. Jenny did the design. It's glorious. It's gorgeous. Wait till you see it. It is so user-friendly. And it's all based, I went back to, back on scratch, back to the basics, and looked at what does the science tell us about building on each brick and making things work. That's what this new journal is about. You can find it at savingdinner.com/journal. And let me tell you right now, this is the week that you want to get it because it's $10 off for the printed version. And you'll just see it. Go just check out the page. Pre-selling it right now. Price goes up next week. This is a big journal. I was going to say big ass journal. Yeah, it's a big ass journal. It is a big ass journal, and you're going to love it. It's beautiful. It does the trick, and it's supportive of everything that we're doing here. The Rising Tide, the Vision Board Workshop, and now the journal. Can you imagine? It's fabulous. Anyway, that's what we have going on, and I'm really super excited about that. Our quote of the week, it's a doozy. Of course it is. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. FDR said that. I think that's pretty juicy. That's pretty juicy because FDR was a wartime president. He knew, that you had to have that kind of sunny optimism in order to be able to create a better tomorrow. And I think, we might not be in a wartime, but we're in tenuous times. We need to have that sunny optimism ourselves. And speaking of sunny optimism, you know what we're going to be talking about today? Oh, girl, it's a big one. I'm not kidding. It's a big one. Breaking free from the victim mentality. And lest you think you don't have a victim mentality, I want you to listen to the show. I've also got some places where you're really going to want to take notes. So if you don't get our show notes, now would be the time to do that. Open another tab and go to savingdinner.com. That annoying little newsletter. Hey, sign up for our newsletter. Sign up for the newsletter. Get the newsletter. Get the newsletter. This is how you get the show notes the next day. And you get all the stuff, the juicy stuff. And you get to hear about everything that's going on. I mean, this is cool stuff, right? All right, let's talk about this. Because as I was thinking about it, I have been hearing victim mentality mindset stuff coming back at me for a while. I had a couple of DMs that were like that. In conversation, somebody saying something that made me think, I'm hearing victim mentality right here. That's what I'm hearing. Even maybe somebody in my own family doing that. Victim mentality is something that creeps in, and how I see it, it just kind of interweaves itself throughout your life. And sometimes, it's very obvious, and other times it's not. And I think we need to be taking a big, big look at this because it's the thing that will hold you back from your hopes, your dreams, your goals, the things that you want in this life. It will stop you from being the queen of your own life. It will cause you to abdicate to this stupid victim mentality that benefits no one. Am I right? Hi, Lynn, by the way. I'm glad you're here. So let's talk about it because, it's sneaky. It sneaks into our lives, even when we think we've conquered it. And we need to eradicate it for good because your life is waiting for you. Remember this. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are created on purpose and for purpose in this life today for a reason. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. It's that simple. And if we can grasp that and have that be the underlying foundation to everything, then we're going to see that a victim mentality has absolutely no business coinciding and co-residing, I should say, with this life that we have. It doesn't work. It's oil and vinegar. Okay? Let's get into this because this is important. First of all, what is a victim mentality? I'm glad you asked that. Well, it's a blame shift, really. It is a colossal blame shift of saying it's because of her, it's because of him, it's because of this, that, and the other thing. It's circumstances, but it's placing blame for one's life on something. And, there are times where we can say, yeah, I mean, so and so beat me every single day with a strap and it was terrible and what have you. I'm not going to dismiss that. But I'm also going to say that that is something, regardless of what happened to us in the past, we have to work within that to rise above that. Otherwise, we are absolving ourselves of responsibility for the life that we have, right? I just want you to really grasp that, because that's so crucial and critically important. Often you'll hear victim mentality come out in words like this: nothing ever goes my way. Why does this always happen to me? How many times have I said that? I've said that. It's their fault I'm stuck here, right? Lots of blaming on parents these days too. Oh my gosh. And, doing all this shadow work and having to heal this, that, and the other thing. I promise you, I understand the value of therapy and the incredible trauma of dealing with stuff from the past, but we don't have to relive it all the time, and we don't have to allow it to put its thumb on our heads and stop us from becoming all that we've been called to become. I believe that firmly in my heart, that it is up to us to be phoenixes and rise from the ashes, okay? And again, I am not dismissing anybody's trauma or hurt or pain or anything else. I'm merely saying, okay, and now we have lives to live, okay? That's where we are. So we acquire this victim mentality, obviously, from past trauma and pain. It could be a learned behavior sometimes, because if you're growing up with, and living around people who are constantly complaining and blaming others, that instills similar patterns in your life. Have you noticed how, I used to watch my sister, and my sister and I had a lot of the same mannerisms and stuff, and I always thought it was very peculiar. The way the way she would say certain things, and the look on her face and everything. Sometimes it was like looking in a mirror. It was really funny, but that's what we do in families. We also instill this other stuff too, which that's not very helpful. And then, another reason that we have this victim mentality is this fear of responsibility, because taking ownership is scary. Have you seen the little meme around that says adulting's hard? Well, yeah, it's hard. It's really difficult. It requires effort and vulnerability and accountability. It requires a lot. And when we're putting that energy into our lives, we don't have a lot of energy to put into the victim mentality, do we? So that's a shift, and it's a big energy shift, but it's a crucial one, big time. And once we've eradicated this, sometimes we have to really take a look, has it snuck back in? Because I think coming face to face with, oh my gosh, I'm acting like a victim here, or, something, it's not a constant for some people. Some people it is, but it's a fallback and a default mode for a lot of people. And, why does this always happen to me is like a default mode of just feeling like, what is starting to pile up. It happens. We all do this on occasion, but it's not going to help us out. That's where I want to come into. It not only is it not going to help us out, it is going to take us down, and it's not going to help us to create the life that we want to live. We won't be living life in full bloom. I'll tell you that right now. So I want you to be, though, very detective-like when it comes to the words that you're saying. Remember, your brain is always listening, right? Your brain hears absolutely everything you're saying and takes it as a virtual command. So when you say, it's always hard, it's always this, and never works out and all that, your reticular activating system saying, okay, if that's what you want. We don't want to do this. Lynn says, live in spite of traumas. Right on. What other choice do we have? Do we want to embrace our life, or do we want to embrace the trauma? To me, is kind of the choice. So, but I want you to just be aware that sometimes these things sneak back in. So you might say in relationships, for example, they never appreciate me, so why should I even try? Or at work, I'll never get that promotion because my boss hates me, right? Or how about your health goals? What's the point of eating healthy anyway? You know, my metabolism's broken. It's not going to mean anything. I'm doomed. There's nowhere to go with that. What do you do with that? You've just put a period at the end of the sentence and just basically shoved yourself into a corner. And listen, nobody shoves baby into a corner, right? We want to be those girls flying. We want to be those women who live their lives in full bloom, who have the lives that are worthy of living. And your life is, you know, and I'm going to side note and sidebar this one little thing. Anytime that you're just starting to feel less than and whatever, I just want you to just say to yourself, I am innately worthy. You know how you know that? Because you wouldn't be here otherwise. Yes, you're worthy. You need to be taking up space. And yes, you need to be saying this to yourself sometimes because otherwise life can get a little bit hairy and a little bit hard and we fall back and into this victimhood mentality, which keeps us absolutely trapped. So how do we eradicate it? That's the big deal, right? Eradication is everything when it comes to this. And I want to really suggest that we take a look at this and understand that it's a matter of taking our focus from here and moving it over here. That it is that simple. Easy, it takes some work, but it's so worth it. And that is to shift the blame to ownership. So this is something that you can say when something just crappy happens and you're going, oh my God, here we are again with blah, blah. Instead of going down that same old road of why does this always happen to me? This is absolute garbage. Blah, 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 all of that. You can say, okay, what part of this situation can I control? Because that's the good news right there. There's a whole lot we cannot control. Things work outside of our purview. That's life. But there are things that we control. We can control the way we are emotionally responding to this. By the way, that's emotional intelligence. It's a good thing to have. We can also make a decision that we're going to let that sit, that garbage over here, the mess that's sitting over here, we're going to let that sit over here. And we are going to address this part that we can control. And if we put our focus and our energy on that, it really relieves us from the victim mentality. And not only that, but it helps us to take just a small action, just one little thing. It helps us to not be stuck. It helps us to restore maybe a little bit of a sense of power. Hello there, Nancy. Mother Hen's in the house, y'all. Glad to have you here. Then number two is that we have to reframe these negative beliefs, because why is this happening to me and is never going to be helpful? Because quite honestly, do you know the answer? I don't. Why? I don't know. But what I can say is, what is this teaching me? Do you see the difference? Over here, you've got this poor, pitiful me, why always me? And over here, you're saying, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to be a student. And if one of my goals, and you'll see this if you do the Rising Tide and the Vision Board workshop that we have coming up, one of my goals is to be a lifelong learner. I want to be a student for the rest of my life. I constantly want to be learning. Why? Because it makes my brain active and it keeps me on my toes and keeps me from becoming old and senile, just to be quite honest. But it also gives me hope. It gives me my dream back. It gives me an opportunity to do my detective work and find out what the heck is going on here. It helps me to see that there's more than just this. There's more than this whole, why is this happening to me? I mean, nobody wants to get pooped on, right? Nobody wants to have that kind of an experience. But if we shift it, again, we're back to that perspective. If we shift our focus and put our energy on what is this teaching me, then we can start to work toward a solution. Otherwise, we're stuck. The other thing is gratitude. Gratitude is the biggest, most underrated tool in the toolbox that I'm going to say, sorry, but most of us don't use it enough. It rewires the brain. Science tells us this, and it makes it harder to dwell on negativity. When you are busy being grateful for, just name all those things that you can be grateful for. You know, I could say 30 things right off the top of my head right now. But if you spend your time on that, it's really hard to throw the negativity in there. Negativity gets edged out because your gratitude is overflowing. Look at the Bible and what it says about gratitude and thanksgiving, and give thanks always in all things. You know, it's a command, and it's there for your good. It's there for your help. It's there to help make you better and to help make you the woman you are meant to be. I don't think we take that to heart enough. I don't think we take that to heart enough, and we need to. And then we need to surround ourselves with empowering people. I mean, I'm reading this. Look what Jeanette says. We're all lifetime learners. That's why we love listening to you. Bless you. I love that. And I love everything that you guys say when we're chatting away here in our courses and when we're doing our live shows. It means something because it says something about who you are. You are an empowered person. You want to walk in your own power and claim it and be it. This is how we become the queens of our own lives and live in full bloom. It's that simple. We're not abdicating to this victimhood garbage anymore. And then we also want to understand that resilience is developed by the action that we take. We don't just become resilient. Resilience is built action by action. So when you feel stuck, do one small thing. You know, if you can't, let's just say your house is a complete disaster and needs cleaning up. Do one thing. Go do one thing. That's empowering. You know, it's empowering. Take a look at what will make you feel empowered to have fixed, cleaned up, washed, done. Do that. Do that and let that be enough. And then feel good about yourself. High five yourself in the mirror and then go do something else. This is the way that we build momentum and get confidence. And momentum is built by doing. Confidence comes after the fact. It doesn't come before. And when we understand that, then we can put ourselves in the place of becoming victors instead of victims. You hear me on that? It's huge. So there is actual science behind letting go of victimhood, and this is the stuff that will help to rewire your brain, because that's what it's always about. And by the way, have you been on YouTube? Have you seen the brain? They did like a brain X-ray of some sort. I don't know what it is, but you can see a neuron being made, and it shows. They look like two little snake tongues, you know, coming this way with their little things, and they're looking for each other, and they show each other, and then they go and they start to rewire. And I'm in awe of stuff like that. It's because we talk about it, and then to see it actually in action, whoa, that blows me away. That blows me away. Lynn says we all need each other to see perspective and to grow and to thrive and be in full bloom. Girlfriend, I couldn't have said it better. You're absolutely 100% right. We do. That's the empowerment of community, of a sisterhood that we have here. Isn't that cool? All right, so let's talk about neuroplasty, right? Your brain can rewire itself differently from what it has had in the past. Remember, I've talked before about the Oregon trails in your brain, because we all have them. And if you know about the Oregon Trail, this is the part that just, floored me when I was doing research a few years ago, that the Oregon Trail still has ruts in some places in Utah and places, the ruts of the wheel wagons, the wagon wheels, the wagon wheels going through that area. They're still there. That's how our brains can get, and we just stay in those ruts. But the good news is that we can rewire and create new trails. We can create another path. You don't have to go that way. You can go another way. And the studies show us that when we're using gratitude affirmations and reframing negative thoughts, we can change those neural pathways. There is science that shows us that this is true. That should be hope for absolutely everyone who feels completely stuck. Dr. Martin Seligman, we've talked about him before. His research on positive psychology reveals that optimism can be learned by challenging automatic negative thoughts and replacing them with empowering beliefs. You know, it's a swap. And I don't know about you, but if somebody offered me a negative belief or an empowering one, I'm going to choose the empowering one. My habit might be the negative one, but if I understand there's a choice to be made, I'm going to go with the empowering one every time. Might be difficult to steer the ship that way, but it can be done. That's the good news. The other thing that we need to look at is the role of responsibility. This is your prefrontal cortex, right? This is your problem solver. It's your decision maker. I say it's like, it's the master planner. This is the part that makes you intelligent. It makes you complex, and it makes you the woman of your own dreams. It really does, because it's the thinking. It's the thing that does all the processing. If we live through our amygdala, which is the fear center of our brains, our fear center will oftentimes say, no, don't do this. Oh, that's too risky. Oh, woe is me, right? That's what our fear center does. It is an automatic default, but we don't have to go to automatic. We can start saying, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility for this, which then activates this. Instead of activating from the back of your brain, you're activating from the front of your brain, where all the good stuff happens. Think about that. I always think about that when I'm, when you want to just, you want to knee jerk your thing and say, you're just a jerk too, or something, you just want to something come out of your mouth. Shut it down. Don't say anything. Allow yourself to process for a minute, and you'll finally come back from all the way back here, and it'll run back up to your prefrontal cortex. Then you can say something intelligent instead of something you regret. What a concept. So I want me to tell you that I have tools that I use for this, because you may have gotten rid of the victim mentality. I know I have, but it still sneaks in every once in a while. And I don't like it. And I feel it. It feels so out of whack when it comes, but it's something that we need to deal with. So you know what one of my favorite things are to deal with this thing? Affirmations. Affirmations are very powerful, especially I am affirmations. So I've got some for you. I also have some journal prompts for you. And that's why I'm saying either A, write these down, or B, get our show notes, which you'll get tomorrow in your email. So that you have these, because these are all really good ones. The first one is, I am the creator of my own reality. I am the creator of my own reality. Do you see what that's doing? That's putting the responsibility of your reality squarely on your own shoulders. And that might feel a little bit heavy, but it's also a relief, meaning that you have the ability to change it. I am the creator of my own reality. Number 2 is, I choose to see challenges as opportunities for growth. This is acknowledging that there are challenges in our lives, and this is giving you an opportunity to see them through a different lens. Put on a different pair of glasses, girlfriend, and look at it. There's an opportunity to grow there. There's an opportunity to learn something there. There's an opportunity to do something different. We don't have to go to default mode. Remember where your prefrontal cortex is, right? This other one, I really love this. I release blame and embrace responsibility for my life. Blame and shame not only rhyme, but oftentimes go hand in hand. We blame and then we shame. And nobody likes living under that dark cloud, especially you. especially you when you are setting this up for yourself. So if we release it and embrace responsibility, we are saying we are willing to give ourselves a chance. We're willing to step up to be the queens of our own lives and to live our lives in full bloom. It's a big deal. I am resilient and capable of overcoming anything. You know why I like this one so much? Because it is the damn truth. You are. The only thing you haven't discovered yet is what's in you. It is all within yourself, all of it. The thing that we don't understand oftentimes is why all these things are happening, blah, 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 right? If we get lost in that, we can't get into the place of being resilient and capable. The resilience and capability that we have is buried within your heart. It's part of your DNA. It is who you are. And I dare you to look. I dare you to dig. Because I've never not seen it in every single person that I've ever met. God doesn't make junk, y'all. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Don't you think that would be part of it? I do, in a big, big way. The last one is so good. And for you girls and women and folks, if you will, who have been in a place of being damaged in the past, your past does not define you. And you can say, my past does not define me. My choices today do. Again, truth, big truth. The hurt from the past and all of that, sometimes we need to have a therapist to help us work through that so that we can get to this other side of making better choices. I'm going to say, of course. But if we understand this concept that the past doesn't have to define us, then we can start to see that there is a glimmer of hope there. That there is somebody holding out hope to us and saying, don't look at that to define you. Look to what's today and what your future can be. That's hope. And there's journal prompts. I love affirmations. They can be said out loud. You can do them in a gratitude walk. You can say them all day. You can write them on a 4x5, 3x5 card and carry them around. I like them. I also like journal prompts because a journal prompt is something that's, let's call it remember topic sentences when you're doing term papers? Well, you write this journal prompt like this. What story have I been telling myself about why I can't achieve my goals? Interesting. Well, what's that going to do? That's going to prompt a lot of stuff that comes out. That's going to allow you to start writing all these things out. It's going to give you clues to what's going on. And again, not to dismiss them, not to say this is, terrible, blah, blah, blah. It is going to help you to see, you know what? I can rise above this. Because for the first time, and this is what oftentimes happens when we start to do journal prompts, is we take all of the stuff that's stuffed into the back of our heads and blah, finally let it out. And when we let it out, it's like taking the pressure off. And it's giving us an opportunity to just air it out. And sometimes what we discover, it's not as scary and awful as we thought it was going to be. You can also ask yourself, is this story true or is it just a belief that I've held on to? That's a good one. The other thing is a reframe. I love reframing, and this is one of the big things that, a lot of the early 20th century folks that were writing, like Napoleon Hill and all that, reframing was was a big time part of everything. Goddard, what's his name? Blah, 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 Goddard. I don't know why I can't think of his name at the top of my head, but that was his big deal, was a reframe. And I love that. What can I learn from the challenges I've faced? And how can I take responsibility for creating a different outcome? Again, solution-oriented and makes you think. I mean, you got to think about this. What can you do? What have I learned? And what can I do to get a different outcome? Hey, Autumn, I'm glad you're here. And Nancy's got her pinkies up. I don't know if you do, but I sure hope so. And then the other thing is, again, back to gratitude, is what 3 things am I grateful for right now? And they don't have to have anything to do with the stuff that you're struggling with. It could just be hot water and a dog to cuddle with and a roof over your head. Start basic. I don't care, but start with something. And then you can even go a step further and say, how have these 3 things helped to contribute to my strength or my happiness in this life? What would it be like to be actually homeless without a roof over your head? What would it be like to not have hot water and have to heat it up on the stovetop? Think about things like that, just to kind of jam in the whole gratitude stuff, because sometimes that's where we need to start. And then we also need to look at the future focus, right? What's one small thing that I can do to get me closer to my goals today? One small thing, which I love, because goals are that. Goals are basically a statement of what it is that we want, and then everything that we do every day is a task that's assigned to that goal that we need to go and so that we can check those boxes off. I think that helps to break down goals really, really well and gets them accomplished. So what are your next steps? First of all, start small. Pick 1 affirmation or 2, a journal prompt or whatever, and start practicing this daily. Start putting it into on your to-do list, on your things that you do to make yourself feel better. Take a little bit of action and identify one area where you feel stuck. I mean, if it's the gym or, physical fitness or something like that, what small thing can you do? Well, you can go out, walk for 10 minutes and come back, and that's a 20-minute walk, y'all. That's a good start. And the third thing is, always celebrate your success, because success loves success. And when we high five ourselves and give ourselves, a little bit of something, that helps so much. It helps us to see things, and it helps us to build on that momentum and gives us confidence. It's a big, big deal. So do it. Anyway, that was our show for today. Sorry, I went a little bit long on this, but I think it's so important. And I want so much for you to have what you want in 2025. If you missed any of our announcements, you can go to savingdinner.com/announcements, because guess what? Our vision board workshop is there. You're going to get the link to the brand new journal, which is stunningly beautiful. Thank you, Jenny. And you're going to love it. It's just incredible. And also, what else do we have? The vision? Oh, and the rising tide starting again. So I'm just really excited. 2025, pinkies up, girls. It's going to be our year. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. Peace be with you. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.